Welcome everyone. We're here for another session of Build with Ben. I'm your host, Ben Hong. For those who might be new to the stream, I'm on the Vue core team and a staff developer experience engineer on the Netlify team and Nuxt ambassador as well as Google developer experts, and just happy to be here to chat and just show you basically how my brain works. So Build with Ben here is sort of an educational program in the sense that like you'll learn alongside with me as I work through things, and I'm try my best to explain things, but then at the same time, I'm also just going to be building things as we go. So we're figuring things out together. So a lot of times things are being prototyped as we go, things, things are being figured out. So with that said, I'm glad to have you all along for the ride. And yeah, okay, what is on deck for today? We're taking a look at Nuxt 3 and Supabase, and we got everything connected. And I'll make sure to link that stream in the recording later on. But basically, we got everything up and running. But I'd like to take it the next step further, right? We want to actually have authentication. We want to actually have the ability to update things and have people sign up for things. So that's what this will be. So this will basically be a part 2 on Nuxt 3 with Supabase. So with that said, let's get started, shall we? All right. What I need to do is basically find my repos, because we're going to be continuing our work with the Supabase. So that is, here we go, Supabase To-Do MVC. Excellent. Let's clone this because I am on my new machine. All right, let's clone that. Nuxt 3, Supabase. Excellent. Then we have our package.json. We have yarn logs, so I'm using yarn, looks like right now. And then, let's see. All right, while that's getting set up. So for those who are new to this, so Nuxt 3 is the meta framework that we're using to build with Vue and have, basically it's in public beta right now. And so as another disclaimer, in case you didn't see the first one, this is not recommended for use in production yet because it is in a beta phase. And so basically use at your own risk. And then otherwise, we'll be working with Supabase today, which I'll dive into as we get into. Basically is a database service that does a lot of the scaffolding as far as like APIs and how a lot of those things work. And I've heard really good things about it from members in the community. So, that's why we're kind of playing around and see how those integrations work together. All right, looks like everything's set up. So let's go ahead and open this up in VS Code. Excellent. And then let me bump this to 1/3. And then, yeah, let's go ahead and get some dev server started, shall we? There we go. Look at that. Look how fast that is. I'm loving the new Nuxt CLI, honestly. Okay, so it looks like there is some things getting... Oh, yes. I'm remembering now. We're going to need to do a little bit of setup here because I don't have those things committed. So, okay, so if we go into pages index, this will actually be a great review for anyone who might have missed the first session. So let me go ahead and actually, let me full screen that so I can get the chat. Okay, I use runtime config, which grabs everything from the M file. So if I'm not mistaken, we just need to create the M file here, and then it's going to look inside of the Nuxt config for the Supabase URL. There we go. And then the public key. All right. So these things are things I'm going to need to grab. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to open up Supabase. I'm going to start our project, and actually let me bump this up a little bit so it's easier for people to see. How's it going, noob dev? All right, so here we go. All right, so at that time I had, let's see, time to create a new project. Nuxt To-Do MVC, database password, build. All right, there you go, good enough. So we'll just go and get that in there. So if you're wondering, the reason we've deleted all the credentials is because as a way for everyone to make sure they can follow along, I'm basically leaving the credentials up here as far as like on the stream. So I'm not going to like black them out or anything, but this does mean that like at the end of the day, I do have to scrap them so that obviously no one does anything malicious with the keys. So while that's being set up, let's go ahead and take a look at the documentation, the API. So basically, all I've done here now is just set up a brand new database. I haven't done anything more complicated, honestly, beyond starting a new project. And meanwhile, you see up here with this setting up Nuxt To-Do MVC, it's basically just scaffolding the actual infrastructure out as far as like, I believe they're using Postgres on the back end. So setting up the database instances, all of that abstracted away from us. And so what we want to do is check out their API docs, which I'm wondering why. Is that, oh, it's probably because it's building everything, building the endpoints for us. But browse the Supabase documentation. Okay, here's the general docs. View 3, auth. Okay, new project. We're setting up the schema. We need a user management starter, get the API keys, building the app, sure. Yup. Then login component. Okay, so we do need that. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got. Let's see, is this done yet? Refresh. Still gonna need a few minutes. Okay. So let's at least take a look at what we have to do today. So inside of here, we'll see that inside of Supabase, basically, they have ways to abstract away the database creation process and make things easier. So for here, for example, typically, if you wanted to manage users, you have to define database schemas, which is another way for like front-end developers to think of as like how your objects should be structured or how your tables will be structured. So this means that take, for instance, actually, let me just bring up Obsidian here, just to make it easier. So basically, as you're if you're designing a type, right, for JavaScript, you probably would say something like, well, for my interface of user, it's going to have an ID type of like UUID. It'll have like a username, which will be a string, right? And you might be like when it was created. So this will be like a date timestamp. And if you think about it this way, actually, when you're designing this type is really another word for a schema, basically. And so databases as well, when they're creating like the columns and rows inside of it, it's the same idea where you're basically saying, I want to create a user table here. And inside the user table, it will have an ID, it will have a username, and it will have a created. And so inside of here, this is where, let me see, can I get this to work the way I want it to? I think so. Advanced tables or tables align. Pretty. Format table, format, advanced table, format cursor. There we go. So then here we go. Then you basically tell it like, this is my table. And now, this is ID of 1, username of Ben Code Zen. And it was created on, today, which is the 9th, for example. And so now I can format this again. And so there you go. That's like the most simple database. So Noob Dev here with a question, does Supabase support serverless functions like Firebase? Yeah, so they're working. I saw I think there's a whole beta for, actually, why am I even talking about it? I should be able to show you at this point. If we take a look at is it in here? Let's see, buildings uses API? Nope, not that. They had like a beta section actually when I was doing some pairing with my coworker Prince. Oh, here we go. Here's an alpha preview of like triggers that you can do based on certain events that are happening in Supabase. There will be functions that you can trigger. Again, these are all in alpha, but to me, this is promising because the fact that it's now in the public alpha preview means that this is something we're likely to see as an actual production supported functionality. So looking forward to that when we get to that. But in the meantime, looks like we're good to go. So as we can see here, if we click inside of this table editor, we'll notice that no tables exist right now. And that makes sense because this is a brand new database. So let's go ahead and follow the tutorial. So I'm going to split this over to the right, split this over to the left. And so we're going to need to go ahead and, so my goal for this stream is to get authentication working. And I've heard it's a lot easier than I think it is. So let's take that at face value and see how far we get. So inside of the SQL section, let's see, here's SQL. They're saying click on user management starter. Okay, there must be, here we go, user management starter. And, all right, so here, okay, this is probably worth going over. So what we see here is actually basically SQL, like the query language itself, and how, like basically a scaffolded script. So there's nothing more to think about other than just reading like what it's doing, right? Create a table called profiles. And then each one of these things is a specific column where it's like, this is an ID, that's a type UUID, and what does it references? It references an auth user. So we're not gonna get into the weeds of it, but it's nice to know that like these things that are so common is basically like, this is how it is. So if you want to like start with boilerplate and then like edit it to your own liking, you can. And so this I think is what I like about just enough abstraction where like, if you wanna use the built-in, you don't even need to think about it, you'll click and you'll move on. But at the same time, it's exposed to you so that the primitives are there and that if you know what you're doing and you want to get in there and tweak stuff, it still lets you do that. So I think that's pretty great. So here we go. So interesting, like here's the constraint, right, to username length. Make sure that it's greater than or equal to 3. So, this is one of those things where like, for example, if we were talking about something like first name, for example, I would probably have to reduce this all the way down to, I guess, 1, maybe more than 2 characters, because some people's names are literally 2 characters. In fact, someone could probably find an instance in the world where someone has a 1-character first name. So it's one of those things where like if we're trying to make sure we're inclusive of different cultures and that kind of thing, like this kind of thing can be limiting because I have actually a member of the core team was trying to put, I think his first name is An, and some of the username fields only allow 3 or more. And so you're like, what do I do? Like fake my first name and add an extra letter just to make the system happy? So little things like that can influence designs over time. But anyways, I am sort of going on a mini tangent there. So I just clicked run, and you'll notice that we got this success, no rows return. That's a good thing, because what that basically means, while it might sound a little counterintuitive, is that it ran successfully, and the reason no rows will return is because all we did was create a table. Something with SQL that you can do is to actually query specific rows of data. So in that regard, just like in JavaScript, if you're creating something, you don't have a return statement on it. Same thing here with SQL. We've just created a table. We didn't say, hey, by the way, after you create a table, return like the top 5 users based on sort history or whatever. Like we didn't do any of that. So naturally, no rows are returned. These are separate messages. Don't feel like one is indicative of the other one. Okay, now that we have that, it's time for us to take a look at our auto-generated API. So if we go to, let's say, settings, click on API on the side. This is where we find our anon and service roles keys on the page. All right, so if I look at the docs in here, we have our API URL here, and we have the key. Okay, so where do I get the key? Key. I think the key is actually back here on the home page. The anon page. Okay, so I'm gonna assume it's actually, whoa, what just happened? Where is my keys? Huh, the URL just disappeared. That was unexpected. Y'all saw that, right? It like blinked. Okay, gonna go back to my settings then. And then hopefully it's in here. Okay, that's fine. I found it. Okay. So I'm going to copy this. This is my API key, and this is my URL. So what we're going to do is inside of VS Code, we're going to update our M value. So let me actually just copy these 2 things. This is what we need. So inside of our N values, I'll go ahead and let's grab these 2 things. And then we'll need to make this equal to this right here. Let me wrap that in string so we get some syntax highlighting. And then here is our key here, and save it like that. Oh, actually, did I end up saving this in the Netlify toml? Okay, anyways, I'm not going to think too much about this right now. Supabase URL, Supabase key. So if this works the way I hope it does, now if we restart the yarn dev, we should see, there we go, much better. We actually see stuff happening. This is good. Very, very exciting. Okay, so this is good. We have that. Now, what do we need to do next? We need to actually take a look at how we want to, Supabase docs. And we're gonna go ahead and see how this worked in the View 3 example. So we've gotten the schema down. We've got our API keys in here. All right, I'm not worried about building the app. We've already done this piece. We've even done this piece as well. But what we want to do now is this login component. This is where I'm a little skeptical because it sounds too good to be true. But okay, we're going to try. All right, so I'm going to bump this to 50%, hide that so that people can see. And let's bump this up a little bit more. All right, so what it's proposing is we can set up a login component using magic links, which if you haven't used that before is a way to basically bypass the need for storing passwords. And it basically says if you have access to this email account, this is how we'll validate your identity. And because of that, we'll let you log in. That's basically what it is. So seeing this now, see, I can actually delete this console log. I don't need that. But what I do need is to go on the sign up page. Oh, not even sign up. I guess it would technically be login, but that's okay. We'll figure this out. So inside of here, we did get this far. So we had a basic piece here. Email, login, ref, Supabase. Great. Okay. How far did we get? We did not get much farther than this. We got to the point where we did the sign up here. Nope. This is sign in. Yeah, let's nope. I think we're gonna change this now. So let's make this. Do I sign in, sign out, log in, log out? I think I did log in. I think prefer that better. This will be login.view, which means that inside of my layouts, I need to change this now to login. This will also be login now. That's changed. Okay, so we're gonna handle this we're just gonna call it login, to be honest. That's a verb in and of itself. And it's having us do a try catch statement where it's checking to see, to let you know the loading value is true, and then otherwise, if you get an error, throw it. Otherwise, check for an email link. If there is an error, alert this. Otherwise, say that it's done. Okay, I can get on board with that. So I think that's sound. So we can do then is basically say, hey, inside of our async function, I'm actually just going to delete this part. I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to say, we're going to do a try catch block. And we're going to follow their pattern here. And so when you catch something, in case you're new to the try catch, it basically says, try to do this one thing. If something error happens, then run the catch block. So inside the catch block, we will alert the error. And it looks like the way they formatted it is this. So error.message. So that's pretty done. And then finally says, make sure to do this at the very end. And so in this regard, I could, and I guess I will create a ref here, const loading equals ref of an empty string. So then I will say loading.value equals false. So that's consistent with their pattern. Here's where it's gonna be a little bit different though. So first loading.value equals true. Then we will basically say const error equals await supabase.auth.sign in email. Okay, so this will be login state dot email. Okay, I think that works. And then if error, throw error. So in other words, if an error occurs, then we're gonna go into the catch block. Otherwise, alert check email for login link. Okay, so that makes sense. So now I realize we don't need password. Gosh, I actually think they had, it's fine, there's a simple, but I'll leave these two pieces here for now. And then we're gonna take out the password here. This will handle the login. This will handle login. All right, now that we have this. Okay, so if I wait, there is no login page, that makes sense. Or no sign up page, just login. Okay, so if this worked, so I'll do my email, ben@bencodezen.io. Then I'll click login. Check email for login link. Okay, that's good. All right, so let me go ahead and open up my email on this side. That I don't want to have to scrub later on. Okay, confirm sign up. Okay, so I basically got an email that confirmed me and brought me in. So that's good. That means that worked. So actually now I'm really curious. Inside of Supabase now, if we go inside of our table editor and take a look under profiles, I don't see a user. Why don't I see a user? Refresh. I mean, it looked like the magic link worked. Little suspicious. Let's keep going. So to access the user information other place, we use a reactive store. That's fine. I know how to do that. But the account page, edit their profile. Edit Supabase from Supabase. Store mounted on ref. Update profile. I mean, that's interesting, but I don't... I don't feel like that worked, though, because I got an auth token that allowed me to redirect home. All right, time to dive into some docs. Let's figure this out together. So we did, makes it easier to do auth. That's fine. Sign up. So there is a sign up, but here's the thing though. This requires the password, and that's I think where we stopped last time. But I'm thinking here. I mean, if I'm using the magic link, why would I even need sign up, right? Because theoretically, the magic link is supposed to do that piece for me. Sign in method. Parameters, refresh token provider. I need more docs. If no password is provided, they'll be sent a magic link which they can click to open your application with a valid session. By default, a given user can only request a magic link every 60 seconds. That's fine. Oh, so the signing gives multiple things. Here we go. User and session. So I wonder if the session is key, like you store that as the cookie, and then that lets you do things. Dun, dun, dun. And then, okay, that's cool. So you can redirect people to things once they've authenticated. That's fine. I mean, it feels like we were successful, but the only reason why I'm skeptical of that is because there's nothing in here. Like there should be, yeah, actually there's literally nothing in here. So how does magic link work if you can just, well, all right. So, I mean, if we take a look at the docs again for the view 3 example they had. So getting started, here's the view 3 example. It's basically saying you got it, you set up a login component, then they said there's a user store, which is just in a reactive object. I'm not concerned. After they're signed in, we can allow to edit profile and manage their account, create a new component for that called profile. That's fine. So inside a profile, store. All right, for the sake of seeing that this works. Okay, all right, let's do this first. I'm gonna copy their code block. Let's just copy it. We're gonna go ahead and inside of Nuxt 3, we're gonna go ahead and create a new page called profile.view. And we're just gonna save. The only thing though is that it's looking for this thing called store, and that does not exist. So I'm gonna go ahead and figure out where is store right now. Store is here. So I'm gonna say, oh, auth user, very interesting. Okay, well, okay, what did they want to do for that? They wanted to source store.js. All right, fine. I will just play along right now. Not gonna rock the boat. So let's say there's a store.js, and we're gonna go ahead and just import this. Okay, so now profile should kind of work. Okay, so to test this out, we can now go to /profile. That didn't do anything. Oh, wait, is that because loading? Something's wrong. Uncaught error during route navigation. What did it not like about profile? Also, while I'm at it, I like putting the script block at the top. So we're switching that out. Update profile here. Yep, that's good. Why don't you like it? Error transforming, import resolve. Ah, okay, so, oh, that makes sense. Because they're looking for a Supabase .js, which I never created. Okay, fine. Let's do this real quick. Supabase.js. And what this is basically, I believe, the ability to export the const of create client. So if I grab that, drop this in Supabase, and then export it, this should allow me now to create a client from here, pull from the Nuxt config, and then have this exported out. So we save that. That should be what makes this works. Okay, that's good. Now To-Do MVC is fine. Login's fine. Okay, so now that we've copied that, that's that. Set in login component, user store. Not gonna worry about that. Account page. Ah, yes, I need a profile link in my default layout. So let me go ahead and add a label for profile, URL /profile. And now if we click, Doesn't go anywhere. Okay, did not like that. Why did it not like that? Error to resolve from pages profile. Does file exist? Yes, it does. It's right here. So maybe what I need to do though is restart the server. Warmed up. 361 milliseconds. This is good. If I refresh, uncaught error during route navigation. Why is Nuxt instance not available? Oh, that's interesting. Is it because it sits outside? I wonder. Maybe it needs to be in the composables folder. Okay, so if that's the case, so let me explain what's going on here. So from what I understand, look at that. I think Volar took care of that for me. That was very nice. Basically, I think it's trying to claim that like it can't just look direct because Nuxt is doing like a whole server thing. So if we just drop it outside of the environment that is configured, that means it's unable to find said file, which I kind of get. That's fine with me. But okay, so there's that. Let's bump that over. Let's refresh. Another instance error. Not good. It does not like this use runtime config, which I'm using right here. At least I'm guessing it's coming from here. Is that because use runtime config is not... This is confusing. All right, let's see. v3.nuxtjs.org. We're in here. Give me the docs. So they recently added a composables folder. And they're saying that this auto import composables into applications and uses auto imports. So we have a file name here that's called composable use foo.ts. Then we can go ahead and import it from app. Okay, but the problem is that clearly use runtime config is yelling at us, which is not great, but okay, that's fine. You know what? We are hacking. So while this pattern doesn't seem to work within the Nuxt configuration file, that is fine. What we can do instead is inside a profile, we can honestly, I'm gonna copy this, paste this. Then we're not even gonna bother doing an import. And then since this is a giant script setup anyways, I'm gonna make this block that, wipe all this out. And then that way, don't need to define all this. Save, okay. So if this works the way I think, hopefully now it should be fine. So if we go to profile and refresh, hey, there we go. Okay, this is good. So we see that the email is actually there. Oh, that's very nice. So if I refresh, email is here. If I click sign out and refresh, email is gone. Hey, okay. That's good. Okay, so let's like do a little reverse engineering here. What is happening here? So with the sign out method, we see that Supabase has an auth sign out. Very easy to understand. Great. I'm very happy with that. And then the thing is though, how did it get auth user? So it must know. So right now, if I go back into my login and then ben@bencodezen.io, go ahead and log in. There you go. Check email for login link. I'll come over here, check for another magic link, click on it, and this is what I'm brought into. So it knows that the domain and everything. So now if I click on profile, hey, look at that. So now if I add my name, Ben, and then the website is www.bencodezen.io, and I click update, update profile will take the values. It will take the user, username, avatar. Interesting that they have avatar URL. It's not even here, but it's fine. It will go ahead and say await Supabase from the profiles table, upsert. That's interesting. That's an interesting verbiage. I would have said like update, but okay, upsert, returning minimal, don't return the value after inserting. Okay, so if this works as I think, that is now set as like a permanent state. Ooh, okay, this is kind of cool, not gonna lie, if it's that easy. All right, now that we have this though, now I really want to know. There we go. Okay, I can do that. Yes, I am okay with this. This is good. Now, wow, that was easy. I know we did some copy pasta, but as far as like having a user be able to like just log in with the magic link. Oh, Jacob here giving me some context. Upsert apparently stands for insert and update. So database verbiage that has been around for quite a good amount of time. Well, thank you, Jacob, for letting me know. Yeah, I guess update is yeah, it's true, because updating a row indicates that data already exists, but inserting data into a row for the first time, meaning it's like for the first time, so therefore upsert. Well, today I learned. You know what? Here we go. We're going into here. So okay, hold on. I'm in my this. In our agenda, let's see, notes. I learned about upsert from Jacob. Excellent. That's my Obsidian note for that, so I can look into that later. So appreciate it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add a little bit more context here. So upsert equals insert slash update, and been around for a while. Okay, great. That's all I needed. And then this is a type of note. Okay, so this is very cool. Now that we have this though, of course now my question is, how far can we get now with actual pairing this with a to-do list? Because that's what we really want here. So now that we have this, I'm gonna want to see, let's see. Okay, well, first of all, if we're thinking from a front-end developer to the back-end, at this point, we need somewhere to save to-do items. That's what we need. So what we can do, you know what? I'm gonna look at the SQL tab again real quick. And let's see if they have a, yep, they do. Okay, here's a basic to-do list with row level security. And so if you're wondering what row level security is, if I understand correctly, row level security just basically says for every row of data you have in your table, you can basically attach it with different security policies so that it can basically better finesse control of data. So rather than saying like you have access to the entire table, it can be like you have access to a subset of the table, which honestly super, super great that I have that built in. So I don't totally understand. So individuals can view their own to-dos, can update, can delete. Okay, so again, I like that they're using vanilla English for this, very easy to understand. So okay, great. I'm gonna go ahead and run this. So now that I've run this, it successfully created it. Now let's go and take a look at our tables. So inside of here, we have our to-dos. Okay, so a couple of things. It has the user ID, UUID, the text, whether it's complete, which is a Boolean, when it was inserted at, and that's it. Okay, 3 pieces of information that I'm pretty sure we can do on our own. So the only thing I want to check out though is there a way for me to figure out, how do I take a look at the schema? Okay, so inside of here, we can see ID is a primary key, that's fine. And this should be automatically generated every time. So this is not something I should have to pass. Interesting that it's an int though. I'd almost rather it be a UUID, but that's beside the point. User ID, that's fine. Okay. Yes, and then this is a user ID that refines. Okay. Okay. So now that we know this, we need to be able to actually update said table, right? So if we look at the docs here, this is one of the things I love about Supabase in the little bit I've even working with it, is that you have very specific documentation. So you can see here that we can select things, we can select user ID, we can select task, select is complete. This is great. But really what I want to do is actually update. So this is filtering, that's fine. Insert, here we go. Insert rows. Excellent. This is very good. Okay, let's do this. Now we get to do some building, which I'm very excited by. And oh man, okay, so the docs are not responsive. That is something to remember. So that, all right, so we're gonna have to bear with me then. We're gonna do this 50%, we're gonna do this 50%, and let's go. All right, so to do MVC, let's see. Well, actually, a couple of things. I want to make sure we commit the things. So here we got it here. Before I wrap this piece up, what we want to do actually is inside of our default layout nav is we really only want the login if profile, like basically, if you want to log in, great. Otherwise, it should be profile. And the only way I realize I can do this is rats. Okay, I'm not even going to do that if condition then right now. We're just going to say that now we have basic authentication. Git status. So this is a... Oh, I don't need that composable actually, though. This is not working, so I'm not going to worry about this right now. That would be a mistake in that. Store.js. Okay, yes, okay. So just like that, then I can say feature, add magic link authentication. Although now I have to check this out really quick. If I think this works the way I think it does, inside of default layout, I should actually be able to import store from store.js. And then that's at the root. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, let me go and log store out. Let's see if this works the way I think it does. So if it does, did I stop the server? I did stop the server. Okay, everything's set up. Did not like source.replace. Oh wait, duh. I did not escape that correctly. Okay, here we go. Store proxy, store target. User is blank right now. That makes sense. Oh no, no, it does not make sense. User. Wait. I'm clearly getting a store.user. Here we go. Oh, okay. Store.user, authenticate ID. Okay, here we go. Because check it. What we can do is this is like, call it like the entirety of our nav links we have here. So nav links, all the ones that we could possibly want, but we really only want a specific displayed. So I'll do a const of, let me actually bump this up so this is not at the bottom. Const displayed nav links. And so this will be a computed property. And so let me go ahead and make sure that's imported from view. Because what we want to do, again, we could do a vif thing, but since I'm managing this via an array, this will be easier. It's a computed property where we're going to say if store.user. Let's see, AUD equals, so store.user, comma, or question mark .AUD, and then it equals to authenticated. Because we basically want to make sure we are authenticated. Then we will return the nav links .value .filter, where for every item, we just want to make sure that the item.label does not equal to, if they're already authenticated, we don't need login. Otherwise, return navlinks.value.filter item where item.label does not equal profile. Okay, if that works the way I think it does, then if I switch this out to displayed navlinks and save, excellent. So now we see profile is here, which is what you actually want. So now if we sign out, I'm gonna probably regret this. Oh wait, cannot read property of ID, that's fine. Refresh, okay, don't worry about that. There you go, this is good. So we can see here, login is gone now. In fact, profile is gone from our link. This is good. Then now I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure we log back in. So good, so we have a new feature, basically. And our feature is feature make nav link items conditional based on authentication state. So a very simple one, albeit, but again, it does the trick as far as like giving you some sort of indication this is happening. So this is good. Now the next thing we want to do, let me go ahead and make sure we have our magic link. And then this time we're going to go ahead and log in. Oh, right. I need to start it up. This is good. Okay, so here we go. This was the link that my magic link opened up. Again, y'all aren't missing anything. In fact, yeah, so basically it's really just an email that says magic link. And in fact, I will show you how it looks. It looks just like this. Magic link, click link to log in. That's basically all it is. So, all right. Now that we have that, it's time for us to actually work on our To-Do MVC. And so let's keep this thing as simple as possible. We're going to do a couple of things. We're going to figure out how to create a new item. So that's that we're going to do. Let's see. Let me create the search. Let me hide that. Let me open this. Let me open To-Do MVC. This is great. And then actually let me refresh. I thought I did log in already. Did I not log in? I thought I did. Here we go. Yep. Oh, this is unfortunate. Hang on a sec. Profile. Yeah, why? All right, whatever. I'm not going to worry about that bug in a sec. Here we go. Okay, here we go. To-Do MVC. All right, To-Do MVC is here. A couple of things. One, we have our input for vModel new task. So import ref from view const new task equals ref empty string, piece of cake. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do though is that when the user creates it though, this is where this is going to get a little bit trickier. So const task list is a ref. This will be an empty array. And so to show that this works first, we'll say const add task is to basically run a function where we take the task list dot value and we push in new task dot value. Actually, that's slightly misconstrued. It should be new task, it should be label. What do they call it in the Supabase? Supabase, we called it insert complete task. Oh, they literally just called it task. Okay, fine. So the task itself is going to be new task dot value, and then the is complete is going to be false. Okay, so if this works the way we want to, then we should say list of tasks, and then we can go ahead and do an li v4 over task and task list. And then for now, we don't have an ID yet. We'll figure that out in a little bit. Take the index and we'll just create our own. So it's a key where it'll be basically task task dot task. I really don't like task.task, but we'll fix that in a little bit. Plus index. That should be unique enough. And then we will render out two things. We'll render out an input type of checkbox. This will be attached to the vModel of task.isComplete. And then otherwise, we will have a task.task. Again, not loving that whatsoever, but we'll figure that out. Okay, list of tasks. Here we go. If this works, in fact, I actually need to make sure we actually allow us to enter it. So keyup.enter equals add task save. All right, great. So now if we hit enter, that shows up. Bananas. Oh, I should reset it, but that's fine. Cherries. Done. Okay. Click, click, click. All right, excellent. If I refresh, everything's gone. That is what we expect. So, good. Now, here's the thing we need to do, though. We need to actually update Supabase. This is the key thing here. So we know how to read rows is fine. We'll learn how to read rows later. We need to learn to make sure we can actually insert it. So if this works the way we want it to, again, for now, this is very hacked together, but we're just going to do it manually because right now I don't want to spend our time trying to figure out like the perfect place to refactor it right now. So inside of To-Do MVC, at the very top, we will import create client from Supabase, and we are going to go ahead and we're going to create the Supabase client, which is fine. And now here's what we need to do. It's saying, okay, insert a row here. We're going to insert just the one row. So let's copy this over and just see what it's in here. It basically says, hey, look, we're going to call Supabase, and we're going to call from the to-dos table. And inside the to-dos table, we will insert some data. So as you can see here, we are inserting this piece here. So what I think makes the most sense is that should belong really inside of add task. So there's a couple of things that needs to happen here. One, we probably need to switch this object out with this object here. And then, although it's interesting, it's in an array. So if you match many items, does this mean that like you just add multiple? Oh, okay. So it's just a single item. Okay, I get it. Save. And then if it works, I guess you would think this is one of those things where like if error, throw error, then otherwise catch. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and just say, you know, no. Let's do it. Try. We're gonna try to do this, right? And then if error does exist, then throw error. That did not like it. If error, throw error. Then catch said error. Console.error, the error. And then otherwise, honestly, we're just going to log out data. Okay, so what this means is though, the UI will not change. I have a typo here. The UI is not ready to change yet. because, oh, wow, did not like this. Const, oh, async. Oh, wait. The async goes here. Async goes here, and then built, refresh. Okay. So if this works the way we want, once again, let's bump this up a little bit, clear this. All right, so let's talk about fried rice. Hit enter. Okay, error. Column is complete, does not exist, code 4273. Okay, that makes sense actually, because what we did here was we told it to pass insert data from task to task, but is complete actually does not exist. So if we looked in here, inside of our tables, inside of profiles, you'll see that, sorry, not profiles, to-dos. Actually, easier ways to edit the table directly. We'll see that we actually have is complete score. So let's change that to this. Although, this leads me to the funny thing of like, do we follow the camel case we're used to in JavaScript, or we have something that transforms it every time? Anyways, it's fine. So that means is complete. This should be legal, so I should be able to say like this. Again, I don't like mixing this personally, but one thing at a time. Okay, that I can close now. Okay, so if I refresh this page and we do Apple, again, the root node thing is really it's not liking it. Hit enter. New row violates row level security policy for table to-dos, code detail null. Okay, so my guess here is that we need to actually pass the user ID. That's the other thing we need to do. And we actually have that. Why do we have that? Because we have this store here that should actually have store.user. So if we import store from, again, I can't wait to figure out where to properly grab these things, but until that time happens, we should be able to, once again, let's just log out store real quick. So here we go. If we refresh the page, we'll see stores right here. Store.target.user, prototype object. Okay, store.user. Can I just save that? Refresh. Store user proxy. Wait. No. We have... Did I kick the session by any chance? Did I kick the session by accident? Dang it. Okay, it's fine. Refresh. Log in. Check email for login link. All right, then looking for my login link over here. Then we're gonna click it. All right, now this should be it. So I go to /profile. Everything should be good. To-Do MVC should now have said thing. So look at the proxy, the target. Here we go, app, authenticated, email, great. So the ID should be this. So then I think the reason it's unhappy is because user ID needs something. So meaning that what we need to actually pass here is the user ID, and then we need to pass the actual UUID, which, based on what we see here, is most likely this string right here. So actually, that's what it should be. Okay. So if this works the way I'm hoping it does, and if I do store.user.id, that should complete said thing. Let me show something in the chat. Okay. Okay, fingers crossed. So if we go into To-Do MVC, refresh real quick. Oh, is the refresh removing everything? Yeah, I think it is. Because if I go to profile, oh, no, it's good. Okay, good. Now if I hit Apple and hit enter, hey, I think that worked. User ID is complete false Apple. Okay. So now if we go into our Supabase here, go inside and refresh said table. Yes, we have something. Okay, this is exciting. Okay, hold on. We need to do one more thing though. So actually, no, this is a feature. Let's commit this. Commit feature. Add item, add ability to add item to database. Okay, now the other thing we need to do though is we need to be able to read said thing. So this is good. This is very good, very good. So now inside of to-dos, what we want to be able to do is actually be able to read said. So read rows, here we go. Basically select all items from Supabase. So from to-dos, select read all rows. Okay, fine. I am interested to see how easily this works, but that's okay. We can be suspicious. It's totally fine. Let to-dos error equals this, select. So the only thing, though, I don't like about this, though, is I need this to actually update the ref of the task list. So can I say let await select? Yep. Once you've done awaiting, well, I guess we can say task list dot value equals to-dos. I think that should do the trick. If this works the way I hope it will. Oh, right, I stopped the server. Hey, Linda Fahad. Yes, I am very excited. This means this is working. And look, our Apple task has showed up. Oh, man. Bananas. Okay, that should have indicated something. Then if I refresh. Oh, did that not do it? I did not like that. I need to fix a single node thing. New violates. Oh, is it because my profile's gone again? Oh. Oh, weird. It's not hydrated. Oh, you know what? That makes sense. Actually, no, that makes sense. You need to hit the profile first before all this works. So then, anyways, that's a bug that actually makes sense. New row. What? No. Profile. Yes. See, there's my profile. I go to To-Do MVC, and I say bananas, and I hit enter. That's good. Now if I refresh, understandably everything gets lost. Actually, that makes a lot of sense now. So then that's good. Bananas is good. Okay. Now, this is huge because now we're able to read, we're able to update, and all of this is saved inside of said database. Now, this is where we get to see if this works the way I want it to. This is huge. Okay, I'll show you why in a second. All right, first let's add the update this. This is a feature, add ability for users to pull data down. Again, we haven't done stuff like updating data. So as we just learned today, the term upsert, we haven't learned any of that yet because, you know, when the user clicks it off, we want to upsert the data, make sure that's up to date. That's fine. But really, the whole point of authentication is to validate that if someone else logs in, we don't see other people's data, right? This is the trickiest part of all of this. So that said, we're going to start this back up. And this time, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and so if I go to profile, it looks like my profile is still here. Once again, that's definitely a bug I need to figure out. But let's sign out. So if we sign out correctly and refresh, profile is good. Profile is empty. If we go to To-Do MVC, refresh, nothing's happening. This is good. If I hit Apple, this should throw an error because it'll be like no, no user was passed, which is fine. We don't let, for now, we're not letting people create anonymous tasks, which is fine because, well, not even just fine. If you wanted to build a free one, you would basically just do two different types of functions. One where authentication is on, one where it's off. So this is already very promising. But now, if we log in, this time I'll do a different email. I'll do bencodezen@gmail.com. And then I click login. This should now send me an email. Here we go. Excellent. Confirm sign up. There we go. Okay. So I think I just confirmed it on the link. So if I hit profile, it did not like that. Okay, confirm sign up. I did confirm sign up. Hang on. Sorry, making sure this link works. Okay, great. Okay. So I clicked on a confirm sign up link. Now if I refresh the profile page, hello, look, my email does exist. This is good. Then again, once again, let's say this time Ben, and then website is, let's just do twitter.com/bencodezen to just change it a bit. Click update. Profile username's key violates unique constraint. Interesting. Oh, this is a username. So I would have to say like benzen, for example. Okay, so that's like, so if you're wondering, that constraint happens at the back end. In other words, so let's show you where that is because, you know, it's one of those things where like, if you're new to sort of the database realm, it's gonna be like, what the heck, where did that, like, I didn't set that, or, well, you think you didn't set it, but you did. Because if we go inside of profiles and that boilerplate that we used, you'll notice that, Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Weird. Username is not forced into, is it? Oh, is nullable. Wait. Usually there's a forced unique. Is that somewhere I don't know about? Edit column, define. Ah, here it is. So every column has like different rules that you can basically default to. So for example, some things you don't care if it has the same thing over and over again. An example might be you might have a blog post in your database that might have the same title. Maybe that's okay because you're gonna differentiate the URL by year. So if you call it like, my annual retrospective, then it's okay that it's the same my annual retrospective because it's, slash 2021 slash my annual retrospective. You'll make those decisions on your own. But by default, in fact, this is probably good that username, although I wouldn't call it, yeah, okay. Username is kind of nice because a lot of people, when they're using your product or stuff, they're not going to remember their hash ID, right? So they're going to want to be able to say, hey, my username is X. So in my case, BenCodeZen, for example. But then as a result, you really can't have people having the same username. So hence why this is unique is great and that it's on by default. This is excellent. All right, so Ben and BenZen are there. We have the stuff here. This is excellent. Okay, now, moment of truth. Click on To-Do MVC. Hey, excellent. So I keep using apples, bananas, and cherries. Let's go to the other side of the alphabet, shall we? And then we have what? We can do a xylophone, hit enter, and then we can do like Yamaha, enter, and then I'm gonna go, shoot. I don't know a Z instrument. I'm just gonna do an animal, enter. Okay, nothing's updated yet, and that's because I'm not automatically fetching. But if I refresh, there we go. So this is great because now when we actually look inside of here and look at our to-dos, we should have 6 items now: apples, bananas, xylophone. And so you can see here the different user IDs that are actually attached to the task, which is great. Because now if you can actually open it up and say, hey, who is this actually? And then it can be like, oh yeah, this is actually, Ben versus the other one, which is bencozen@gmail.com. So this is awesome. So, I mean, that's basically, you know what, we're not totally done yet. What do I need to do? I need to do one more thing to kind of at least make this demo MVP really MVP. So let me open up a new terminal rather than kicking off the other one. Okay, the other thing we need to do real quick is that when a user hits enter, it should really fetch the list again, to be honest. So what we should do is create a function called getTasks, and then this will be an async function. And this is where we'll call this stuff, and we'll like basically run this stuff. So all this stuff here is in a function called getTasks. And then inside of, let me bump this over 2/3. There we go. Inside of getTasks, we'll basically say, so okay, we basically want whenever it's on mounted, basically when we mount it to the page, this is when we'll run the script to say get tasks, just run it. And so if I refresh this now, you see that without doing anything, it's automatically fetched it. But the other thing we want to do now is that when we add a task and we're successful, now we're not just going to log the data now, then we're just going to run get tasks again. So if this works the way I hope it will, now we should be able to, so what other, let's see, STUX, okay, umbrella, enter. That didn't do anything. New level. Oh, of course. Because I have not set the cookie. There you go. Okay, now if I hit umbrella, enter. Hey, okay, great. So it's automatically fetching now an update. It looks like the UI is updating. That's actually what you want. Because there's another philosophy in programming called optimistic updates. And what that means is you basically update the UI and you are optimistic about the fact that it has actually updated on the back end. So the equivalent to this in here is like saying, rather than running get tasks, we would actually go ahead and push directly to the UI. So let me just like pseudocode that out for you. It would be task list dot push, and then we would push this thing into here, right? We would just push it into the list, and then we would run a separate call to update the database. Hence optimistic updating, because you're telling the user, hey, it worked, but you actually haven't fully confirmed it. And while that might seem instinctively like, oh, that's a bad thing, it's like a bit of trade-offs. If let's say you have a lot of trust in your service and reliability, then there's something to be said about like giving users the ability to work as fast as they can. And then in the background, whenever it's confirmed updating, it can do that. And then call it like you update the UI, give it a little bit of a loading spinner so that users don't feel like they're waiting for the backend to like do all the work before they can move on. And then in case something's wrong, or like, so if nothing goes wrong, leave it as is, right? So the user feels confident that it's finished. But then in the event like something goes wrong inside of an update, then maybe that's where we would like update the styling on the list item to go, oops, sorry, we thought Umbrella updated the database, didn't, let's resubmit it. There are a lot of, that's a whole bunch of different design patterns we could talk about, but those are possibilities. Okay, we have this now. The only other thing I need to do though, let's see. So this is a feature that we've improved, add ability to get tasks when adding tasks. The last thing we need to do is prove that we can actually update and toggle the complete bit. So if we go inside of our docs here, let's go inside our API, inside of to-dos. What we should be able to do now is we should be able to insert rows. Inserting rows, fine. Updating row. Okay, so here we go. Await Supabase from to-dos. Update what column? Other column value, some equivalent, some value. Update will match all rows by default. Eep. We wanted to update specific rows. Oh. Okay. It will match all rows by default. We don't want to do that. That seems dangerous. I'm surprised there isn't a little bit more docs on this part. Using horizontal filters equal. This is fine, except I don't know what these things are. So I'm going to scroll up to filter real quick to see if they have an example. Okay, here we go. Equal column filters, the column equal to greater than. Okay. From to-do select equals column equal to greater than. Learn more. Using filters, okay, equals name the share. And so we would actually want the ID of said data. So every row should actually have its own unique ID, I just realized. And at this point, we don't actually say what the data is. So this is not actually, wait. If we inspect the task list, that should give us a better sense. So if I go into, is the view dev tools not working for me right now? Yeah, we're just gonna look it up real quick. View dev tools beta. This should be the beta one. Yep. Let me go ahead and remove this old one. Remove from Chrome, add to Chrome, add extensions. Great. So it should be here. Then if we refresh, okay, so it did see that. Oh, but it does not. Okay, so it looks like it identified Nuxt 3, but it looks like the DevTools aren't fully. Oh, they are. Is it good enough? Good enough. Okay, great. Nuxt page, router view, Nuxt layout. Give me async component data wrapper, default. Okay, display link, nav links, that's fine. Router link transition, base transition to do MVC. Great. So we have the Supabase object here, which is great. We have task list. Every task list does have an ID. Okay. So since we do have that, this means to me that we can say equals where ID is equal to 8. So, okay, here we go. So if we want, what we want to do is we want to create a new function called update task completion. I'll be very specific. And what it'll do is it'll be an async function that will take in the ID of the task. So I'll say task ID to be very specific. And inside of that task, we will want to actually update the row. So this is where we can take this code snippet right here and say, hey, look, we're going to go ahead and update said thing. So the way it's going to work is we're going to take it from the to-dos. We're going to update the is completed column. And we're going to, actually, I need the entire task itself, I realized, because I need to be able to toggle it. Because then what I want to do is I want to be able to say task, I believe it's task that is complete. Is complete, yep. So we'll take the opposite of task that is complete. That's what we want here. So that's what we want to update, but we only want to update it where the ID is equal to what value? We want it to make sure that it's equal to task.id. And then from here, then once again, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this in a try catch block like that. Try catch error. I need to create a snippet for this because it is very similar for me every time. So if error, throw error, whoops, and then otherwise log data. Okay, so if this works the way I hope and refresh, and not even just log data, we can actually probably run the get tasks again. So then the other thing is when we click on this now, I wonder if this is going to work. Update task complete with given tasks. So if we refresh this page, all right. Moment of truth. Click error. Perhaps you meant to reference the column is complete. Message column is complete does not exist. Okay. That's a little surprising. Oh, wait, is complete. Okay. Click. Did it work? Oh, snap. Okay. Uncheck. Hey, it works. Woo. Okay. Oh man, that worked. This is great. Oh, I'm so excited. At this point, I mean, if it was, that was fairly intuitive. We have the ability to, okay, I mean, the authentication piece is a little bit broken. So we have 12 minutes. I might be able to actually fix that. But let me at least fix this piece, or sorry, commit this piece. So we've basically added the ability to toggle complete, to toggle completion on a task. Oh, this is wunderbar. Okay, noob dev here in the chat. So many components that wrap To-Do MVC. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure this. I'm trying to think if there's a way to really like make that better. But it goes to show you kind of what's been abstracted for you, because there are things happening for you here as far as like the async component wrapper. This is the default layout. And so this is useful actually because this shows you how much, if you think about it, this is the complexity of the web these days, honestly. You know, transition wrapper, all these different, you know, routing links that are possible. And then within here, base transition, and then index, and then we're good. Okay. So the only thing I need to do at this point is, we need to fix the bug. We need to fix the bug. Because right now, if you go to /profile, you'll notice the layout does update correctly, but we need to actually have that happen at the layout value. So to show you what I mean, in profile, we actually have the get profile function being run. That is actually happening. So what I probably want to do actually is move get profile all the way to the layout. So let me full screen this and show you what I mean. If we go to the default layout, we actually want, every time someone loads the page, at least for now, this might not be the best performance-wise, at least at first, but to just scaffold it out, we want to make sure that we get the profile. So basically on mounted, we want to get the profiles because, oh, did not like that. And then on mounted is here, on mounted. So we have get profile here, and then where's get profile being called? Oh, it's getting called in the loop. That's fine. It's gonna go through, is gonna go ahead and call Supabase. Supabase here it's getting called in the update profiles. Once again, we'll figure out why. I'll have to figure out why that's not working. Loading is undefined. Okay, loading value true. I'm actually gonna that's fine. Let's just copy this over real quick. Avatar URL is not defined. Let's copy that real quick. And then now we should be good. So now it's like this. This is good, actually. So no matter what page we go. Oh, we have a bit of a routing problem. Okay, that's fine. I think I know how to fix that. This is good. So now I think we are good. We don't have to do that thing where I have to visit the profile page anymore. If I go to home, straight there. If I refresh, still good. Still switches it out. That's not a problem. Okay, so let's see. Commit, fix. What do we fix? Need to visit profile page to get user credentials. Actually, that's not a good commit message. Fix, what was the fix? User or get authentication session regardless of page. Great. And then the last thing we need to do is all those transitions that are yelling at us is because, well, while multi-root components are a valid way to write your components going forward, the truth is that we need to actually, the root element is important for actually managing transitions, which is what you're doing on the page level. So here main is fine. It did not like To-Do MVC because To-Do MVC, if I'm not mistaken, yep, does not have a root element. So if I switch this, wrap that for a main, save, that should now fix that error that we keep getting. If I clear that, profile, To-Do MVC, yeah, now that's very clean. Okay, so now this is fixed. Oh, did that not get attached in the last commit? Okay, well, here's a neat little thing that I do. Git never mind. So that basically brings back the commit to all the other things. And then I can go ahead and just put the same commit message. Now we can just update this. Fix transition issue with page not being single root element. Not being or not having? Probably not having. Page not having single page root element. Bam. All right, excellent. Oh, okay, so here in the chat, we have a message from Dan. What's up, Dan? Supabase support real-time updates with subscription method. You can enable it in the setting. It's, I see call, I think you mean cool. Okay, well, we still have some time in the stream, so let's go ahead and learn about this. Because you're right, what I'm doing here is pretty rudimentary from like a database, like it's like manually fetching, grabbing, that kind of stuff. So real-time subscription, this is exciting to me because, let's see, billing usage? Nope, not billing usage. Maybe config? Nope, that's not it either. Although, this is making me wonder though, Dan, in case you happen to know this, the site URL is currently localhost 3000, which makes sense for doing local development, but production is probably going to use a different URL, but you still want to be able to do stuff locally. So I wonder how you manage, oh, additional redirect URLs? Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Anyways, templates. These are email templates. Not a big deal. Policies, users. Where can we get real-time updates? You know what? Let's look at the docs. Real-time. Here we go. On subscribe. Okay. Subscribe to real-time changes in your database. How does this work? It's disabled ID for new products for better data performance and security. You can turn it on by managing replication. What is managing replication? Okay, managing replication is about... Wait, that wasn't it? Was that it? Does it mean managing real-time? Was that a... This looks like a typo in the docs. Database... Nope, it does say replication. But then it says real time here. Okay, they must have called it replication at some point in the docs and then did not change all the instances of it, which again, I totally understand what that's like to miss things in the database. But if what they're saying is true, they're saying that listen to all database changes, listen to a specific table, listen to inserts, listening to deletes. Does not send deleted record. If you want to receive the deleted record, you need to enable full replication for the table you're listening to. Listening to multiple events. Okay, row level changes. Whew. Okay. Okay, if I understand correctly, what this means then is that if you're subscribing real time, as the user hits enter, you will always be just sort of sent back the data continuously? Because then I'm trying to figure out, is a subscription like more performant than doing it like where you have explicit calls? Like, why would you do, I guess, real time in the sense that like whenever the database updates, then you get the update rather than you manually calling each one? I think to use Supabase auth. Okay. Okay. So you know what? So I think this is an interesting note to leave on, to be honest. So let's see. So thanks to, all right, I don't know your I'm just going to use your username, Ditsar Gary. And then you said that your name is Dan. All right. Thanks for mentioning real-time updates in Supabase, which we can look into in another episode. Yeah, I think part of it is I need to understand, like I get the general idea of real-time updates. So for those who might not be familiar with it, I think, at least in my mind, when I think of real-time updates, the most tangible example is if you're playing a game with your friend online. That is something where you need like live updates as things are going on. So if you're, you're like, so no, just in case that. So if you're playing like a card game, right? And you're playing just like basic war and you want, when I click on I deal a card, you see exactly what cards dealt and it's happening in real time. That's the kind of real time subscription that I believe Dan is referring to. So I think it, you know what? I realize it's useful, especially when it comes to collaboration. Because again, you have multiple people working within the same confines. So again, another example of this would be Google Docs, right? A live document updating. That's another example where real-time update is important because when someone's making a change, you want to see the change on your screen so that you don't override them, etc. So otherwise, though, I think the real-time update is probably not as useful for a single user who's just like updating and managing their data. It almost might be probably not as performant if we did it that way. But again, to be completely transparent, I'm still kind of, my experience with real-time updates is still on the lower side. So these are just ideas. That said, thanks Linda for hanging out. Appreciate you coming by. But yeah, actually speaking of, we're coming to the end of the stream. So let's go and switch back over and see if this worked correctly. Did it? Nope. Oh, oh, I know what I want. There we go. Ha! It worked. Interesting that it's refreshing that cache every single time. Anyhow. Okay. Well, so thankfully we got, not only did we get authentication working, we actually showed how we could attach it into the To-Do MVC. So we have a full To-Do MVC basically attached with authentication. And so if anything, this demo I think is pretty useful. And I think there's a lot that could be a lot of more guided content we can create from it. But at the bare minimum, now you have it. So if this is something you've been itching to do, you get to watch my experience at least. And then hopefully it's a little bit faster for you when you're scaffolding your own app. But with that, I think that is a wrap for today. It's been an absolute blast having everyone. Thanks everyone for hanging out, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.